Gene, what are you?
I'm really just a member of KISS. You know?
Who dreamed this up, this getup?
We all did.
How many members in the
There are
group?
4 members. You know, your audience really looks appetizing.
Oh, really? Are you a bat?
Yes. Actually, what I am is evil incarnate. And some of those cheeks and necks look really good.
That was terrifying. Gene Simmons.
Yeah,
What's going on, everybody?
My first time to hear that one.
Welcome to the Rhythm Section Podcast. My name is Derrick.
I'm Jeff.
Jeff Ward. We are a sweet pair.
We are.
Came prepared today. We got a special episode, special intro today that we're going to get into. But first, let's talk about Facebook, Jeff.
Yeah, Facebook. Every Monday at 6. we have a video come out on Facebook and YouTube and all the audio platforms in the morning. You can check us out there. Take the link tree and go wherever you want to go.
If you want to support and throw $1 in our tip jar, click that Patreon link for more information. And we got merch, shirts, hats, coffee mugs, and tumblers at Boba Cream, 131 West Commerce Street. In Hernando, go to msbobacream.com. All right, let's not waste any time. Ladies and gentlemen, we have some very special guests with us today. We got Jimmy Fulp and Joe Smith. What's going on, y'all?
Hey guys, what's happening?
We got the Paul Stanleys with us.
Representing.
They're representing the Paul Stanleys, which is your trivia
That's right.
team, right? You guys even have shirts for it.
We're legit, right?
Shit.
So you guys are here to talk about Stage Stop and the would you call it a reunion show, a tribute, mixture?
Yeah, we probably both, really.
Yeah.
We initially really wanted to just do a tribute to Nita. Nita, if you don't know, was the owner of Stage Stop.
How do you say her last name?
Makris.
Nita Makris. Cool. So Neil's June 25th, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m., 5725 Quince Road.
Yes.
So I would love to learn more. As me and Jeff know, Stage Stop comes up constantly.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think it's great that y'all are doing something like this, and I'm sure it's going to have a great turnout. Tell us a little more about your time there, but also the genesis of wanting to ramp this reunion up.
Okay. Well, here we go. Yeah. No, yeah, sure.
Rock, paper, scissors right now.
Lizard spot.
My time there. Yeah, I guess now I hooked up with all these guys. Many, many years ago. I won't say how many, but I was in college and drummer in a band, and I grew up in Norfolk, Virginia area. So I got to Memphis in the early 80s. So I was always interested in music and all that. And I started hearing about different acts and stuff and learned to play drums. So I played drums in a college band for a while, sang country music at Bad Bob's Vapors and Chelsea Street Pub, various locations. And then I met a counterpart, a guy named Wayne Walker, you've probably heard of.
Oh, yeah.
We know Wayne.
Yeah, we were about 18, 19 years old, and it's been a hoot ever since. And I watched him play guitar and just went,
Yeah.
whoa. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. The guy is incredible. So we ran the bar gamut for a while, and one night when I finally hit 21 and could get into the Stage Stop legally, we went in, and from night one, Nita welcomed us. Slick Rick was there. He was the DJ, and he welcomed us, and we just kind of hung out there. And then whatever magic happens, I mean, I was more into the punk, new wave, cowpunk, Jason and the Scorchers, and that kind of thing. Really not so much in that heavy metal. I mean, I loved Ozzy and Black Sabbath and all that kind of stuff. But then I met Wayne. We got this Stage Stop. And we started hearing, more of that and more what was going on at the scene at the time. And then that's where I met guys like this, like Wayne, like Jimmy, like Sean Few, Dave Flexer. I mean, the list goes on and on.
The Roxy Blue guys, Everybody's Nightmares guys.
All of them. Roxy, Thrust.
Yeah, so I get the bands right here that are showing up. Lord Tracy, Roxy Blue, Every Mother's Nightmare, Play Rough, Thrust, and Hand-Me-Downs.
Yeah.
So is that a good core of bands that were playing there back in the 80s?
Yeah, probably is in a specific, time frame there. I mean, we forget, we all had long hair and earrings back in the time. So we forget that there was a stage stop before. So we were, we'd like to get some of those older bands, and hopefully this might stir up a little interest. I mean, that's really, I'd really love to see that some of those older guys kind of get back together, and maybe we can do something like this again.
Yeah.
To steal one of your lines, maybe this isn't a one and done thing, like you say on the
like
on
this
each
podcast,
week, right? Yeah. So hopefully this is quarterly or whatever. I'm not.
Sure.
We don't know right now,
Right.
but And then for me, I played the stage stop in '91. We were a traveling band, and everybody here wanted to hear original music.
Yeah.
Hey, play some of your stuff. Then so we had a point where we were getting out of our agreement with our agent at the time, and needed to find a place to stay. So Nita let us stay at the band house,
That's
for
awesome.
a few weeks.
Nice.
And, always helped out. I mean, she'd do, was it $3.99 steak shrimp night?
On Sunday nights.
So people like us could go eat because we didn't have any money. And but yeah, she always took care of us. I met Donna there, my wife, and
Hi, Donna.
these guys.
What's up? What's up, Donna? So should we start talking about wrestling now?
Yeah. And then Hulk Hogan came out.
So,
Well, there's one band on that list that I'm super excited to see. I've never seen them live. As many times as they played the stage stop, I never caught them. Lord Tracy.
Oh, yeah.
I never went to see those guys, and I cannot wait. I'm looking forward
You're
to
for
that.
a treat.
I know.
They're so much fun.
I've heard all the stories.
and just hanging out with y'all and hearing about all this stuff and behind the scenes, Lord Tracy is one of those bands that they haven't been doing anything. They're just kind of coming and reforming just for this, right?
Maybe. I mean, I really don't know the history of it. I've heard that some of the guys were in town for something, and we wanted to take advantage of the.
But they're not
them
active
being here.
much here at all.
I
right?
think not here.
Not here.
Yeah.
I think they play around maybe a lot in Texas. Maybe I'm not sure.
But the fact that you get all these bands in one place at Neil's must be.
That
big
itself
deal.
is exciting.
Yeah. Because Thrust, I know enough. We've had David Flexer on the show.
Yeah.
We've had Tracy and Chris Rubel on the show.
Yeah.
Who else is Billy?
Billy Little has not been on the show yet, but it'll happen.
We have met him.
Yeah.
So
he's a character, man. He'd be great here.
So because of David Flexer on here, we heard a lot about Thrust.
Yep.
And so it's neat that, that's what makes us so unique, right? So has there ever been a bill like this recently with all these old classic bands?
No. And that was
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
that was an exciting part about the idea of trying to get some of these guys back. Now Thrust, they lost their lead singer a few years ago, and so Tracy Rubel was going to step in as vocals. Chris is stepping in the drums,
Right.
and we heard that Cricket's going to come sit in.
I saw that.
I heard he's doing
That's
well,
awesome.
and man, we're really excited about that. So it's a tribute to Ty too, and I know they're excited to be doing it for him.
Man, Ty Crook was one of the most talented people to ever walk the face of the earth. That guy was just amazing.
Pipes.
I mean,
He was the singer of
he was
Thrust?
the singer for Thrust. He wrote a lot of the music, and he could play multiple instruments, and he's just amazing. And he's hugely missed.
So Bad Apple, was that David and Tracy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that came up too.
Yeah.
If you, like you said, not one and done, let's say you did it quarterly, whatever, that would give a band like Thrust reason to,
Sure.
let's rehearse again. Maybe write a song.
Oh, that'd be great.
You know what I'm saying? Because now
Right.
they know, we'll be able to play again in 3 months.
Right.
Let's do something new, maybe, any one of these bands.
Yeah.
And we also had talk of TNA on the list. I don't know if you've. I mean, and they were there. Of course, unfortunate passing of Wayne.
That's right.
They stepped out. And speaking to Randy Mike Fields, the guitar player, or one of the guitar players. Of course, they're down about it. But man, we're hoping is they don't stop.
Yeah.
We like them to keep continuing and keep being TNA, and hopefully they can, like you say, if we get to do another one of
a
these,
second one of these, maybe they'll be in that one.
because they're just a great band.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they were fantastic. I remember them vividly at Night Moves.
Night Moves, Rascals, Stage Stop.
Man,
These
you
names
know
keep
them all.
coming up.
Yeah, well, don't lie.
He's learned. We're teaching him.
I'm living vicariously through y'all.
Don't
Crazy
lie. No
motherfuckers.
one remembers anything vividly.
No,
from those
that's true.
days.
Except for the drug use and too much alcohol.
Not drugs, young ladies and
That's
gentlemen.
true. That's
Maybe too much medicine.
Yeah.
Turned into the Tom
Soda pop.
Snyder interview with Kiss. He was drunk. They didn't drug him. He was drunk.
Well, we're gonna keep hanging out with you for this intro. I'm glad to have you all here.
Man, yeah.
We're gonna talk about our weekend like we normally do. Is there anything? We'll recount all of this before we go into the interview. But if there's anything we're missing, let us know for sure.
One thing I'd like to say is I want to thank Matt Montgomery for providing backline amps.
Okay.
Memphis Drum Shop for backlining the drum kit.
Killer.
So yeah, awesome.
That's massive with the amount of bands that are coming in.
Yeah. And it was super easy. It was like, hey, because I didn't know how it was going to work. And they're like, yeah, what do you need?
That's
awesome.
Dang. So
Yeah.
And let's thank Niels.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Sure.
And everyone that's going to show up to this, we'll be there.
Yep.
We're going to be sitting with our good friend Jeff Cobble.
Yep.
Okay, good.
My mom's going to be sitting with you guys.
Oh,
I'm pointing to
look
Jimmy,
out.
and Jimmy's like, great. And I kicked her out of my table. That's why.
we'll take her in, man.
Take her in, man. Someone needs to. All right. So I forgot about this. Where is it? Here it is. This is for you, Jimmy. We got a new patron.
Woo!
Our good friend Lance Binder.
Oh,
Yeah.
Bass player, Area 51.
love it.
Bass player extraordinaire.
Surprised you could sit still long enough to fill out all
my
the information.
So thanks, Lance. Hope to see you again soon here. All right, Jeff, as we usually do, we're going to kind of recap our weekend. And we made it out one night. And we went to see Basketcase at Hadley's. You guys obviously are familiar with Bob, Bosha, and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Stromboli Bob.
Yep.
Stromboli Bob.
Yeah.
I love it.
It took him and I, me and Bob, I should say, 2 minutes before we started talking wrestling.
Yeah, it was quick.
It
It was really quick.
was awesome. Yeah. We were talking about flat back bumps, and
Right.
I was like, man, this is awesome. So whenever that wrestling stuff starts bubbling back up, I told him, like, man, whatever I can do to help with that
Oh, yeah,
stuff.
we'll be interviewing the participants.
I want people cutting promos here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah,
But,
somebody could easily get hit with a chair out in the hallway. I mean, who knows?
we'll gimmick a bat or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, it was my first time seeing them.
Mine too.
Okay. And,
Great band.
So yeah, Alex, by now, if you could throw some pictures up, we got Hadley's, Bob Bosha on bass vocals, Rob Cooley on guitar vocals, and my old buddy Lee Smith on drums. Y'all know who Lee Smith is? He,
That was my first time meeting him.
yeah, he used to play in a casino band called Arizona with Manny Zapata.
Okay.
And
Okay.
when I saw him, I was like, damn, dude. I mean, I started rubbing shoulders with him in 07 down in Horseshoe. I was like, man, good seeing you again. I didn't realize he was jamming with them. So that was an extra bonus.
Right.
A lot of 90s stuff too, hence the name. You know?
Yeah.
I was playing this game where Name the Band. I was like, oh, who is this? I
we
can't
always
remember.
we always do that, and
Yeah.
half the time we can't remember who the
And
hell.
then it
it
was
is.
like Eve 6.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
cool.
wow.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they were playing all that
It
stuff.
was some obscure stuff that you just don't hear all the time, which
Yeah.
is always cool.
Yeah.
You know,
And like so many of these bands, awesome vocals, those guys up
oh, yeah.
front.
they were doing a
Singing,
great job
harmonizing.
harmonizing.
Yeah. So if you want to follow them on Facebook, it's at Basketcase MEM.
Right.
And I need to do that more. Point people to their pages.
Bob loves to go to Rizzi's for Stromboli, so you can take it
Yeah.
anytime.
Yeah, what is this Stromboli stuff? Is it like an inside joke? Sort of like,
Well, evidently, Bob's just a big fan of Stromboli. And I don't know. Shit. The guy goes and eats it. You know, he's
I
Italian.
think, does he have a
loves Italian.
podcast about it now?
I don't know.
Yeah, some kind of podcast.
He's doing a video series of Bobby Stromboli, I think he calls
Yeah, I've
it.
seen that. Yeah.
Bobby Stromboli.
It started with a canceled gig and then
Oh, yeah.
him taking a jab at the place.
At a certain venue.
Yeah. And then it just kind of snowballed.
Like
It is
everything.
great.
Hence sweet pair shirts.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Josh Sheen,
Yeah.
lotion, all
Yeah,
this stuff.
everything
Yeah,
takes on a life of its own.
You've had Stromboli, right?
Uh-oh.
Something
What
happened to a mic.
Oh, I accidentally muted you. Sorry,
Oh,
Joe.
Careful.
Thanks, Derrick. Appreciate that.
All right.
Yeah, man.
We got to do it. We got to
It's
do
okay.
it.
If you need to leave, it's okay.
Oh, Lord.
I'll take the blame for that.
Now, what was your question,
Yeah, I
Joe?
remember my first time with a mixing board. No, I'm kidding. I said, you guys have had Stromboli,
Oh,
right?
yeah, of course.
Oh, okay. So you know what it is.
Yeah, I know what it is.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. It's
delicious.
pizza just folded over.
That's a calzone. Let's get this shit right. So back to Stage Stop in this past and the history of all that. Have you guys, you two, Jimmy and Joe, ever played together in a band?
I may have gotten real drunk one night and just sang with them, but I really haven't.
Well, they're both
Tuesday
drummers.
night. Well, we did a Tuesday night open band jam.
That's right.
For years there. So Tuesday night,
I remember that jam.
me, Scott Sudbury, and Keith Blanchard would host, and different people would get up and sing or play guitar or whatever,
Okay.
and they'd say, "Hey, do you know? You don't have to call me darling." Or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, David,
Yeah, I
how we
used to do
go.
that, yeah.
And Joe would do that, and I'm sure Elvis
Probably Elvis.
loved me. I'm sure, and
Jay Giles Band.
yeah.
Yeah.
David Bowie.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
So it was always fun when we see Joe in the crowd.
Because no
We're
one
like,
ever
"Yes."
heard of the Plimsolls. No, we don't know that. Well, Scott knew it, but he knew it, but no one else did.
So what spearheaded this? When did this all start planning, and what was the final deciding factor?
Wow. Guess we started talking about it probably a couple of years ago with off camera Paul Moreau.
What's
That's
up, Paul?
Paul Moreau,
Everybody knows Paul.
another member of the Paul Stanley's trivia band.
If you have if you have a large porn collection, you've seen Paul Moreau.
And Paul doesn't have a mic to be able to refute any of this. He's just in trouble. He's just got to sit over there and take
He
it.
cannot rebuttal right now.
No, but we often, and Jimmy too, we often talk about those old days. And man, you remember this band, that band, and some of them I don't. That
Right.
came through on the road. To be honest with you, but we just got to talk about the Stage Stop, and thankfully, I mean, like I said, whatever powers be that have our paths cross, and we've had so many friends that we met at the Stage Stop 30 years ago, and we're all still great friends.
Sure.
Great friends now.
Mhm.
So we still talk about that, still talk about the music, and I think we were at Hadley's one night. If I remember when it first started, Paul, we got to talking about Stage Stop and Nita and all that. I said, man, we need to do something for Nita, because I mean she's done so much for so many, also the stuff she did for MDA. Not to mention the bands, giving them a place to stay,
Took Jimmy in.
having cheap food so they can eat. It's I've never been a road musician, but I've heard it is not a pleasant thing.
Yeah.
It's not nearly the glamour people think it
Right.
is.
For sure.
So we just got to talking about that, talking about the old band. Hey man, it'd be great to get some of these guys back together and just get Nita in the room so we can all just say thank you and just tell her how much we appreciate the place.
Sure.
And
miss it. God,
and let her know how
somebody
much we
win the
miss it.
lottery so we can reopen that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
So there's a lot of obviously bands, which means a lot of phone calls and text threads and everything. What was
I bet that was fun.
what was the process like? Did it take 3 months to get this thing booked? And
No.
what was it like?
Man, every one of these guys jumped right on.
Yeah.
No question. They were in it. Oh, yeah. Anything for Nita was the typical response.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely
awesome.
anything for Nita.
And that's a testament to her, man. She was so cool. And I probably only spoke to Nita twice in all the years. But every time I approached her and said something, she was so engaging and nice and cool, and just everybody loved her, man. And there's a reason for that.
And she didn't take any crap either,
No,
man.
she would not take any shit. Don't
I was getting ready to say, "You sure you're talking about Nita?"
No.
Well, I remember her like put me in a headlock.
Oh, yeah.
She had that side. Yeah.
I had some
You like
memory.
that shrimp? You like that shrimp?
$3.99, baby.
I said 15-minute break. Get on stage. No, just kidding. She was great.
Oh, yeah. I have many run-ins with Nita. Not bad, but none that I can really mention here.
Yeah.
But, oh, God, I forgot where I was going with this. But, yeah.
Yeah.
Say something, Jimmy, quick.
A lot I love for Nita.
Yeah. Something. Sorry.
There it is.
No.
Put him on the spot.
We just started. It's funny because we had different conversations with different people, and it was kind of like connecting the dots. And,
Right.
and Angela Goreshi is also involved in this. And we'd have Zoom meetings and
Wow.
and the first time we talked through was basically the lineup right there. I mean, it pretty much stuck, with the exception of TNA.
TNA, yeah.
Which understandable there, and
Totally understandable.
Yeah.
But we can all say we really wish they were playing.
Yeah,
I'd love to
absolutely.
see those guys.
That sounds good. So Randy, Mike, and Jeff, and you guys,
Yeah.
please just keep it going. And,
Keep it going.
And we'd love to see you again.
Well, Jeff, let's talk about our guests today.
Yeah, we should do that.
Plural.
Yeah.
We have Stephen and Kiva McKee.
Yeah, Fate Hates Me.
Fate Hates Me.
Yeah.
That was another one that you booked, right? You reached out to
Yeah, I reached
Stephen?
out to them. I met them a few years ago when I was playing in Zach Baer's outfit. And they played his venues, and they came in for one of the videos we recorded and were kind of extras in that. And just super cool guys, original music. Been doing their thing for a while. And I saw recently on Facebook, they're kind of restructuring right now. I think they're looking for a drummer and maybe one other position to fill. So if anybody's interested, reach out to Stephen or Kiva and give them a shout.
Yeah, go check out Kiva's bass rig. Throw that picture up. Throw that picture up.
Pretty monstrous.
It's a wall. It's massive. So, of course, we talk about that. Not in this episode, but at some point this week, as you are watching and listening to this on post day, we will be publishing a clip featuring one of their songs.
Yep.
I Don't Believe. So we talk about the song. After the song, we'll talk about the origin of it. So keep your eyes and ears open for that coming this week. Of course, we talk about their influences. And there's also a crazy story. Stephen delivered Kiva in a school bus. So you got to check this out.
Yeah,
it's a crazy story.
It's a crazy episode. It's really interesting. And one thing that I don't think they mentioned during the interview, and I want to throw it out there for them and plug them, is that they're amazing painters. They have their own painting business. And so if you ever need any kind of paint work done, reach out to them because they're really good at what they do.
And they paint big houses.
Really big houses. Stuff that most people don't want to mess with.
And they're really good at posting their stuff out there. So.
They post photos of them being 75 feet in the air on a ladder, and I'm like, oh, God.
I know.
Be careful.
They're very independent folk. And it's, living off the grid and delivering your children in a school bus out in the field somewhere. So pay attention to that story. It's very interesting. But so, yes, before we head off here, again, Jimmy, Joe, thanks for doing this today. Thanks for coming in. I can't wait for the show. Again, it's at Neil's on June 25th.
Yep.
And Lord Tracy, Roxy Blue, Every Mother's Nightmare, Play Rough, Thrust, and Hand Me Downs. Oh, I can't wait.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm sure so many people in Memphis are excited about this too. So if you guys do this again, if you do another reunion, let us know. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll have you in.
Appreciate you having us. So
Absolutely. Sure. That's what this is. That's what this is
Right
about.
on.
That's what this show's about here. So
Do you have any porn music?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I kind of,
That'll work.
All right, Facebook at The Rhythm Section Pod, 6:30 p.m. every Monday, and on YouTube. Click that link tree for all the information. Patreon, throw $1 in that tip jar. Click that link for more info. We got
Or 100.
Sure, yeah, you can set up any amount you want. Lance Binder, again, thank you for being our latest one. Jimmy's one, Donna's one. Joe, not so much yet, but yeah. But awesome. And shirts, hats, coffee mugs, tumblers at Boba Cream, 131 West Commerce Street in Hernando. That's it. Thanks again,
always,
guys, for being here.
Thank you.
And
Thanks,
enjoy
guys.
our interview with Steve and Kiva McKee.
Absolutely.
All right, Jeff. We got some great guests in today. We got Stephen McKee and his son Kiva McKee from the band Fate Hates Me. Guitar, dad, bass, son. This is great. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
We couldn't be more
appreciate
grateful.
Yeah. Once again, this is a Jeff Ward booking.
Yep.
So that's awesome. Thanks for bringing them in, Jeff.
Heck yeah. I met these guys through Zach Baer. I don't remember specifically.
Because we painted his house.
Is that what you painted his house?
Yeah, we painted his house. So.
And I saw you guys play a couple of shows at his clubs.
Sure.
And it was great. Just we hit it off, became musical buddies.
Yep.
When we started this podcast, I knew I wanted to get you guys in here. So
right on. We're glad to be here.
We're grateful.
Yeah, you guys have been in the calendar for a while. Yeah.
We backed out for there was
I had to have them reschedule because something else came up, and they were gracious enough to do it.
No problem.
That's awesome. So y'all came down from Tipton County?
We
I
did.
hear?
We did. We came from Memphis. Well, I moved back to Memphis 10 years ago, and then the band started in Memphis. But then we decided we needed to be able to play louder with less cops, so we moved to Tipton County.
So where were you born? Where were you really actually
wow.
from?
You're going to really take it
That's
back.
a fun story.
Yeah, every year.
My parents were missionaries, and so I was born in the Equatorial Congo.
Where is that?
I feel like I'm being punked.
It's on the it's on the equator in Africa, in mainland Congo.
You're telling the truth. You're not.
No,
okay.
it's no,
I didn't know if this was a
BS at all.
joke.
No, my parents were missionaries and my
Awesome.
grandparents were missionaries. So
That's awesome.
Our whole family's connected to the Congo.
So how?
I did not expect that.
Yeah,
I expected.
neither.
I was born in Baltimore and moved here when I was 5.
I know.
Odds are you're going to be the only guy to answer that question with the Congo.
Yes. I'm pretty certain of
The
that.
certificate's
awesome.
in Congolese and French, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, my birth certificate's not in English.
So how old were you when you came here?
To the States?
To the States.
6.
Six.
So like, there was, Mobutu, and I know we're going to do world history, but the Belgian Congo, it was a colony, and then the Belgians backed out, and then the Congolese had an election, and then they didn't like who they elected because the American CIA needed the diamonds to keep flowing. So so they put a puppet in place, and the missionaries left because we liked our heads where they were.
I'm so out of my element with this topic.
I'm telling you, we got to get straight to a song or
Sorry,
something.
we got to talk about some music. You wonder why my music's vicious. There you go.
So, pardon my ignorance, but when you moved to the States, are you considered an immigrant?
I'm not, because both my parents were American citizens when I was born.
Okay.
So it's not because I know in the military situation when you're overseas,
Right.
you're a citizen. But with being missionaries, is it different?
My social is like 5 years off because I didn't get my social security numbers until I came to the States.
Oh, okay.
And so it messes with cops when they run my stuff.
I bet.
And they want my social, and I give them my social, and they go, "You can't be born in 67.
Yeah.
Yes, I can.
I have got to ride with you.
Yeah, it's kind of
and
fun.
see you get pulled over.
It's kind of fun.
That would be an absolute hoot.
Yeah, because I carry citizenship papers instead of what everyone else carries.
I got you.
Interesting.
I got you. That is interesting.
Pull it up on my phone, you go. Really? That's your ID? Yeah, really. It
So
is.
where was the first landing spot coming in from overseas?
Well, we landed in Little Rock, Arkansas,
Okay.
which is where my parents were planning to stay. They didn't stay in Little Rock. They went to Fayetteville and then on to Memphis, where I moved to Memphis in the 7th grade and then left when I was 18 and came back 30 years later.
Now, I know from seeing your posts on Facebook, just casually reading over time, that you are a Marine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I hope that's okay that I brought that up.
Sure.
If it's not, we can edit that shit. But
Why would that be?
I just want to
bad?
say thank you for your service.
Yeah.
I always say that to anybody who has served, and I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
that.
I
So,
couldn't wait to get out, honestly, but
Yeah.
but
Understood.
it did the bit.
Yeah, I've known several people that got in and couldn't wait to get out.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I was not built to for that.
so Kiva, when are you joining?
Oh, well, I'll
Never be joining.
I'll never be joining the Marines.
So, Kiva, if you don't mind, how old are you?
I'm 22 years old.
22.
Currently.
So you've been in Memphis your whole life?
No, I'm. Fate hates me. Lovely little band name. Good reason for it. 9 kids and 3 relationships I've seen this man through. I was born in Kansas City, and my mom had me for a good long while. I actually grew up about 6 feet away from Samantha Fish and the Rumble Jets and all
No
that.
kidding.
So,
Okay.
You didn't grow up 6 feet from or 6 miles from the equator?
No, I grew up in Kansas City, and
Okay.
and well, I was actually born in a school bus that he delivered me in. So my paperwork is also
we
kind
used
of
to be
funny
off-grid.
because I didn't get my social until I was about 3-4 years old. So it also comes in all backwards.
This
and
is going to be
stuff.
the most amazing episode of this podcast.
Yeah, I delivered
So
him.
you delivered Kiva
Yeah.
in a school bus.
Yep.
Yep.
So
Living on 26 acres in Missouri.
But I,
With no power.
Okay, so let's just move to the next question. What the hell y'all talking about?
Any
What
and
is going
everything.
on, y'all?
I really have never stayed in one spot very long. I've tried some
Sure.
of everything. I've had a dozen different jobs and lived in 11 different states.
But he moved to Memphis, and I was like, "Yeah, that looks good." So I followed him, and he's a well-traveled man. He's been through the world and all that. But
As we are learning. Yes.
I intend to be a root. I decided
He
on
wants to
Memphis.
stay
And
right
I may
here.
live in Tipton County, but ultimately I'm Memphis.
So,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
guys, this is where you plan on staying?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Good to know.
Do you guys still live in a school bus?
No,
No.
I have a double wide, and he has a single wide next door.
There you go.
That's
There you
great.
go.
Yeah, so you're neighbors. That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, we both.
So-
we,
Yep.
you know,
That's
Well, I
lovely.
knew that you guys enjoyed the country.
We do.
I've seen your pictures on Facebook of sunrises and sunsets, and you've been to my farm, and we are all kindred spirits from being out of the city and in
Yeah.
the, in the country. So, pretty awesome stuff. Well, let's talk about Fate Hates Me.
all right.
Let's do that. When did the band form?
Well, it formed when Kiva decided to pick up a bass.
Okay.
I grounded him and sent him to his room, and he
I
said,
wasn't about to let that time go to waste.
and he asked me if he could borrow a bass off my wall. I had a number of different instruments hanging up, and he went to his room and came out after his grounding, and he said to me, I'd like you to listen to something. And he proceeded to play me something so complicated, there's no way I could ever
Make your ears melt.
Yeah, it was complicated. And he said, "Do you think this could be the basis for a song?" And I said, "No, it's the basis for a band. Let's play some music together."
All right.
And so, really, everything we've written since has been together. We did
In lockstep.
we did a crazy challenge one time where we tried to write 10 songs in 10 days,
And we
which
did.
which is just a creative. It's like shoving yourself and
Sure.
saying, "I gotta do this."
That's some pressure.
So we wrote 10 songs in 10 days, and we still play about 4 of them.
Okay.
Most of them ended up in the trash
I was
can.
going to ask how many were keepers.
I think
But
Mankind's
four of
Son
them-
is out of that list, and Black Widow's out of that list, and what's the other one?
Depressed.
Depressed-ern.
Depression is the song.
Depressed-ern is the
Although we
song
don't
that
have a
started it
recording of
all.
that. I know.
Should do a recording.
You
of
guys are
that.
fun. So this all stems from a grounding. So I gotta ask, what'd you do, man? What'd you
Well,
You might not
well,
wanna
do? Is this
talk
something
about
we
it.
want to get into?
well, much like my father before me, I'm a very stubborn individual. He always says,
Comes from his mother's side.
comes from his mother's side. That's exactly right. And well, he told me to, do something, and I was not intent on doing it. So I did something else. I picked up the bass and launched us into this lovely
That's
little
awesome.
thing we're doing now. We've been doing it
7 years.
7 years, almost 8 years.
Almost 8
But that's great. You grounded him, put him in the room and everything, but you didn't deny him the bass guitar.
Oh, no. And
That's
not
good.
only that, since then, I mean, he and I have written together a lot, which means that we both had to learn to let the other one do their thing.
Mhm.
I don't dad him in the
Sure,
band.
sure.
There is none of that.
I get you.
Kiva is completely the bass man. There's
Sure.
not anybody. I don't know if you guys can play better than him, but I can't play better than him. And I played bass for 8 years before I ever touched
you're
the guitar.
the vocal mastermind. I mean, can I sing? Yeah, nothing close to the power and just passion that you
Opera.
got.
My parents made
Oh,
me sing opera. So,
that's awesome.
Let's just add another thing to the.
Another layer.
my parents were super into education, and they thought that we should have
Yeah.
a well-rounded education. So I sang in church when I was a kid, so they decided I should have lessons.
Cool.
And they're not real happy about what I do with my voice these days, but it is what it is.
So they're still around.
My mom is still around, and she hates rock and roll. She's uber religious, and I love her to death. I never say a word against her, but you'll never catch her at a Fate Hates Me show.
Shocking, right?
It'll never happen.
And you're not going to catch my mom at any of these shows either, and I don't even let her watch the podcast. so-
Nowadays, my mom or Darlene,
Yeah,
she'll
she-
pop up anywhere these
Yeah,
days.
she's
So
out
Right
having
on.
a good time.
it's an inside thing with our audience. Now,
We've
my-
got to take her to a Fate Hates Me
Yeah.
show.
There you go.
My mom's a character of the show now.
Right
so.
on. I love it.
So, what would you say if you could define, the music stylings of Fate Hates Me? How would you explain it?
It's really strange because Kiva is a metal bass player, albeit with a lot of extra throw in. It's not a whole lot of single note stuff. And I really am a throwback to the 80s. I mean, Styx is my favorite band.
Oh, there you go.
Because I like the vocal harmonies.
Oh,
sure.
You heard that in I Don't Believe. You don't hear it as much in other songs, but I like to sing. I like to get at the top of my range and sail it out there and see what I can do. And when Sabrina was still with the band, Sabrina was my perfect other half. Like whatever I sang, she found the harmony at it and did it with me.
Sure.
Now that she's gone, we're going to resort to electronic means to make that happen.
Gotcha.
But it was we loved what Sabrina did for the band. We missed the keys.
Sure.
She left of her own accord for other thing, greener pastures or another thing. But it's not the same since she left.
Understand. And shout out to Sabrina. I've seen her on Facebook for a long time since I started following these guys. So just I'm sure she's missed anytime.
Absolutely.
We were
Every
grateful.
single show.
She did all our videos and all that.
Yeah,
We're
wow.
grateful.
All the vid credits go to her. I mean, she's
Gotcha.
the one who ran our social media, and now it's on me. And you see, it's become a disaster.
I hate social media too. Do you sing, Kiva?
I sing for very particular reasons, mostly out of hatred for whatever circumstance plague me at the moment. But I don't know where I get that from. It must be from my mother's side.
Kiva didn't write or sing for the first 7 years of the band.
Okay.
After he and Sabrina split up, and she left, he decided he wanted to sing a song, and he got up and he performed it for the three of us that are still in the band, and he sounds like Lemmy. He like
little bit.
screams and he sounds like Lemmy. And like our drummer Pete just went, Stephen, you got to let this, like, you got to put this in the show because this is a whole different vibe. Like, this isn't anything like what you write. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So Kiva's singing a song, and
Well, that's great.
Joseph sings a couple songs of his.
Comes along with the years, slowly but surely.
Does your drummer sing at all?
He does not.
Okay. Then he and I are kindred spirits.
Yeah,
I won't sing.
He said
You
he
do
doesn't.
sing, though.
Not as a drummer, though.
Yeah, he's a good singer. He's modest.
Yeah.
I can't sing and play at the same time. I go full retard when I open my mouth.
You know,
And
Kiva
I'm
feels
trying-
that
I am that
same
way
way
with
about
the
the bass because when he sings, he's actually playing guitar and I'm playing bass.
Okay.
So it's a whole switch.
I got you. So after you guys formed the band, how long was it before you actually played a live show?
Kiva and I played a single live show with the drum machine, probably about 8 weeks after we started.
okay.
Like we
Not
put
long.
an 11 song set list
But
together.
it was about a year
Played a
and a half before
birthday-
we played with a full band, though.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably a year and a half before we played with a full band, and that was a tattoo shop in Tipton County. What was the biker club?
Baca.
Baca. Bikers Against Child Abuse.
Okay.
So we
There
played
you
a Baca show out there, and that was our first real show, and we didn't know what we were doing.
But we were ecstatic.
We were
I mean, you're
ecstatic
not
to do it.
supposed to, right? You can only get better once you get out there.
It takes a bit.
I still don't know what I'm doing.
So what are some of the places that you will play here and there?
The Cove out in Millington is becoming a thing. We
Quick
played
favorite.
the Haystack out there, and that's also good. Being in Tipton County, those are just close and easy to get to.
Sure.
We have another Rock House Live, Raleigh
Yeah,
Range.
Zach's locations.
Zach's locations coming up, and we're going to play the Knights of Thor show in Texarkana.
Texarkana,
in,
that's right.
in May, and I'm not sure the venue's name there, but but that should be a honking
Nice.
good show.
Hoot and holler.
Absolutely. That'd be cool.
You all travel in a school bus?
We do not. Mostly work vans. Kiva and I own a paint company together too. So
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
So you got a paint company. I noticed that on your Facebook page.
we do. We paint high end houses. A lot of big exterior stuff that lots of people don't want to touch. This year we're going to do a 4-story.
Ooh, I couldn't do it.
She had 9 different painters out to the house, and all of them went, that's just out of our reach. And Kiva and I went, for this amount of money, we'll be happy to do that.
Nope,
But-
I wouldn't be up there
that-
either.
I wouldn't either.
That started right around the same time as the band. Like, he made me a deal when I was a teenager because I said earlier I'm stubborn. He was like, okay, you finish high school, I'll take you to work. Because I was hard charging. I wanted to go to work with this man.
Right.
But I got in a fight in high school and they kicked me out. And he was like, okay, I knew it was going to happen, but really this soon? Okay, so he got me all the paperwork I would need to do to finish school at home, homeschool stuff.
Okay.
Right.
So he got me all these books. And by the end of the first semester of 9th grade, I was done. 9 through
He was
12.
done, ready to
Here
go.
you go. Grade me. I'm ready to work. Let's do it.
So you got your GED?
Yeah.
At age 15,
16.
16? Good for you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I did hard charging from day one, ready to work. He's been a painter my entire life. It's all I've ever known him as. And
Okay.
I saw several of my older siblings try and fail to meet the standard. And
Yeah.
well, I just went, you know what? I think I can do this with you. Let's give it a shot. And much like the band, we've been doing it ever since.
I'm not afraid of heights. I can do this.
He's not. He unicycles, 8 foot.
Yeah.
An 8 foot
8
unicycle.
foot unicycle.
Have you seen any of
Yeah,
that?
it's
'Cause I've-
insane.
No.
Oh, yeah.
I
I've
would
seen-
love to see that.
I'll
seen
have to send you
photos.
guys a video, or
Yeah.
hell, I'll just bring it next time I'm here.
How do you
He mounts it off the
How
top
do
of
you
the
Mount it
van.
off the
start?
well, it has 2 configurations. I can put it in 8 foot configuration with the long chains, or I can put it in a 5 foot configuration. And 5 foot, I can free mount from the ground, no problem. I would put my foot up on a wheel and just jump. Foot
And
on
then-
pedal,
and then
off
The
when
I
you-
go.
8 foot, he goes
when
off
you
the
put
top.
that pressure on the pedal, it kind of gets you
Yeah.
going.
Yep,
pushes
it
him up.
launches me into position. And then on the 8-foot, I have not yet learned to free mount. There are some guys who are good enough to get a running start and jump right up on that thing.
Slackers, right?
I am not one of those guys. I've broken a lot of bones in my young years, and it just doesn't work.
I think I just came up with an excellent way for Fate Hates Me to just get to the next level.
I know, it's him playing bass on the unicycle.
Damn right.
We've talked about it.
As soon as you can do that, get with us.
Yeah, get a wireless setup.
Get a
Just
mini
circle around the
belt
place.
clip amp and go at it. I actually can play guitar and ride at the same time.
Oh
I've
my
practiced
God.
it. I can make that happen.
Okay.
Can't sing and play.
Can't sing and play, but riding unicycle and playing, that's easy.
Put that on the resume. A lot of bands are looking for that. That's awesome.
A well-balanced
We're
individual.
going to pay to church this year, and it happens that his unicycle's the right height for him to cut off of. So, like,
I'm bringing that thing to work.
because they have 12-foot ceilings in there, so he
Wow.
can just ride along the edge and
Perfect
cut the
height.
top.
Perfect. That's amazing. So I don't know where to go with these stories, man. There's so much you could talk about.
We're insane.
So is there a story behind the name?
There is. In fact, it has to do with my 9 children and all my exes. I used to sit on this
9 children.
9 children.
Man.
I have them tattooed down my back. I used to be on this chat site. You know, everybody's tried out some chat here, right? So I'm sitting with these people and I'm talking, and Kiva and I are kind of jamming on the side and had a thing going. And Kiva said something that irritated me, and whoever I was talking to said something. And I said, Fate fucking hates me. And he said, that is a band name right
You got 9
He
kids,
said-
man.
He said, 9 kids. If Fate hates anybody, it's you, buddy.
I don't know if you guys watch all the podcasts, but the most recent band name that I came up with was Possum Titty.
Possum Titty.
Yeah.
That sounds like it comes from Mississippi for sure.
There's a long story behind that one. You listening, Tim?
He's
John?
listening. They're all listening.
You guys familiar with a band called Fever Tree?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah,
I
we
love
actually went out
Fever
to one of
Tree.
Fever Tree's shows.
They
just,
did. They
just
were
the
there.
other week.
I was there. I saw these guys there at Hadley's.
No, that
was different.
Every
That-
Mother's Nightmare.
That sure was. That was everyone.
Oh, okay.
Not
Yeah.
Fever Tree. Every
Sorry,
Mother's Nightmare.
Fever Tree didn't play there. That
Fever
night.
Tree wasn't there.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're confusing bands.
I'm confusing bands.
It's okay.
It happens.
It
Was
happens.
it the Cricket?
It was the
benefit?
cricket
It was the
show.
cricket
yeah.
benefit.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be there, but the tornadoes
Man.
came right
Yeah.
through Hernando.
And the tornadoes hit less than a block from our house.
Oh,
wow.
Like our trailer's still there, up on the corner. They're pine trees, 100 years old, snapped off like
Fate
sticks.
decided to ease up for a day.
Yeah,
sure
they
did.
eased up on me for a day.
That's not a good band name though. Fate eased up.
No, it just doesn't roll off the tongue.
Right.
So, are you guys gearheads, or do you just not really care and you just play whatever sounds good?
Okay, well, there's a sharp separation.
Fun stories.
Pete has 3 large drum kits.
Okay.
And they are all very expensive drum kits, and they all have ridiculous cymbals.
Sweet.
So Pete is like a money guy when it comes to his kits.
And Pete who? What's
Pete
his last
Moss.
Pete Moss.
Pete Moss is your drummer.
And is our
Okay.
drummer. And like
There's a joke there.
there's a kid at our house, and then he plays with another band that he's some friends of his that they're not really doing anything, but they have another band. And so he has a kit at their house, and then he has this big kit, which
Okay.
he likes to take out to shows.
Sweet.
So there's one.
Okay.
And then I have a Marshall Mode 4, which is a huge, ridiculous amp, but I blew distortions left and right, like on everything. You have no idea. I've blown 10 distortions out of guitar heads easily and since we started the band. So I don't use the distortion side. I bought a preamp so that I can, if I'm going to blow something, I can blow something I can replace.
Right. Yeah.
So that's kind of my thing. Joseph plays through one of the newer Marshalls, one of the solid state Marshalls. So I guess, I don't know if that's gearhead or not. Kiva.
I play through the monolith. It took me 3 years to build my amp, and I'm not playing through anything else. I kind of get laughed at for it because it's, this tall and weighs 200
It's
pounds.
4
but
18s.
It's 4 18s scrapped together.
It's
'Cause
4 18s.
418s.
We bought 2 sub cabinets years and years ago, and they just weren't working in the system for whatever reason. So I was like, "Hey, Dad, will you sell me those? I got an idea."
418s.
4 18s.
All in one box.
One cabinet.
Yeah.
One cabinet. And
How do you move that around?
Well, it's got 6
Painstakingly,
very
but it's
large,
worth it.
6 very large casters on the bottom of it.
But still, what do you put it in? You can't fit that in the back of your
a
van?
work van.
Work vans.
Work van, yeah.
We have
but-
3
we got
work vans.
big,
so
beefy vans, and they can
Okay.
fit all our gear.
We need a picture of that.
No doubt.
I'm working on that. I have
What do you
one.
power it with?
Just
What
email
kind
it
of
to us.
head do you
Well,
use?
it's run through a Crate BT350 bass head, as well as a Crown 1200 watt power amp, and I've got an EQ to run my bass through before it hits all that.
Yeah, it's thunder.
It does. It's not the best high end you ever heard, but man, you can feel that thing from 4 blocks away.
Makes chicks boogie.
Makes chicks boogie. That's absolutely right.
What kind of guitars do you play, or do you have?
I'm playing through a PV 5-string PV Fury right now, and that has served me well for going on 3 years now.
There's this ridiculous rig.
That's so crazy. If you would have shown me that without context, I'd be like, oh, that's a badass looking 4. 412 or
410.
410.
Yeah, no, it's a 418.
Right, but the picture, it's hard to know that those are 4 18-inch speakers.
Yeah, when he stands in front of it, then you suddenly go, oh, it's big.
It's big.
That's what you need. You need a picture of you standing in front of it. That way you get the
get the full context. Because we tell people that, and they're like,
no way.
What is it? How do you do that with wattage? And I'm like, 1200 watt power amp. That's how we do that.
That's awesome.
Lots of wires, worth it.
Then you go in 5 strings, so you get that low B.
Oh, yeah. Dude, he hits that low B and the whole stage just goes, you can feel it in your soul.
The way you guys both did that.
Yeah. Man,
that's awesome. So what are some of your influences? Like, who are your idols, if you have any?
Kiva points at me. Thanks. I appreciate that. As far as vocalists, like Iron Maiden, with Bruce Dickinson, like my hero forever. If I could sing like Bruce, I'd be all right.
Yeah.
Dio, of course. Those are my idols. Sure. I mean, if I can sing like those guys, and I get accused of it on occasion. Once in a while, somebody comes to one of our shows and says, you guys kind of got an Iron Maiden vibe. I'm like, thank you so much. I appreciate you. What's your name again?
Well, when you have those types of influences and musical idols, it's hard to not have some of that bleed through into what you're doing.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, those are the guys that I listened to when I was learning to sing rock and roll. And you kind of understand, like, I couldn't do rock and roll in my house. My parents were no.
Right.
So like everywhere that I sang was at a friend's house, or that's where I practiced all those great lines and sang the huge soaring things, and then was never allowed to really do it.
Right.
And I, I've been in bands my whole life, but honestly, Fate Hates Me is the first one that we've all just really done our thing. We've never told anybody what to play. Like all of our musicians, just here's the chord progression. You do what you do best.
All staunchly original, and we make it blend.
So how about you, Kiva?
Well, I mean, I love the greats. I love Lemmy, and I love Ozzy Osbourne. They're singing and playing at the same time, and that's one thing I just can't match. But I love the greats, but honestly, my biggest influence and hero is sitting right next to me.
That's awesome.
Jeff Ward?
Yeah.
Jeff Ward.
he pointed that way.
It's my father.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear.
Well, that's sweet. I mean, that's really neat. You guys definitely have...
It's the same thing Derrick said about me yesterday.
That's right. I was in a shitty mood that day, so... No, but you guys definitely have what seems... like a special relationship.
We are. We're good friends on top of it all. I mean, we've managed to work together and play music together for the last 7 years. We're okay by each other's side.
Does he still try to ground you?
No, we're long past that. But I don't go out of my way to piss him off either.
It's called growing up, right?
Fun, fortunately.
Unfortunately, he grew up with the Marine, like in the house.
The Marine. Yeah. We've got the reasonable
kicked him
one
to the
now.
curb, mostly. I mean, I like to say he's there if somebody ever kicks my door in or some stupid thing like that. I'm perfectly capable of being that guy, but I don't try and be him anymore.
Sure.
But I was raised under the Marine.
There you go.
So you guys were talking earlier. You had mentioned the Cove. The Haystack, places that you've played, and you mentioned the Stage Stop.
We did. We loved Stage Stop.
The Stage Stop was the best.
Such a legendary place here.
Every band in town should kick in $100 and try and buy that place back.
Yeah, it would be awesome. I said if I ever won the lottery, we won't have that problem. We'll open it back up. But it's just a shame that it closed. I only got to play that stage once in my musical career, and you guys said you played
three times.
3 times. Some of the best shows
in
we've ever.
Short order. And then suddenly it was gone.
Yeah.
But prior to playing there, is it a place you guys would frequent? And
we just kind of fell into that. By that I mean we met another band. It's From Within. They're from Jackson.
Okay.
They have come apart, but I think they're reforming, and we love those guys. And like we just
great.
hung out in the parking lot with them, and they're like, "Hey, you guys want to gig with us?" And we're like, "Yeah." They're like, "Good. We need an opening band 2 weeks from now." I'm like, "Cool," and that's how we fell into that. And then we played with Who Shot John and a couple other bands up there.
Yeah.
And then it just like we didn't even know it folded. We went to go call somebody about it, about playing again, and there was no answer.
No more stage
Oh
stop.
man, just done.
Yeah. I got off social media for a while, and while I was off was the time that they closed.
Yeah, it just disappeared.
So when I jumped back on Facebook, I just happened to be surfing, and somebody mentions that the stage stop's closed, and it's just that's how I learned, and it sucked.
Yeah.
Just in general, what was it about Stage Stop that was so special?
You know, it was a dirty, grimy place.
Atmosphere.
But the atmosphere was everything. The stage was so prominent.
Yeah.
Like, music was happening in that bar all the time.
Yeah.
There was always
Everybody
somebody
in there
on
was
stage
invested and interested in the music
Absolutely.
going on.
Yeah, I think you had musicians who showed up just to critique other bands. You
Oh,
know,
for
they
sure.
would just stand there with that, the grim look.
Happened all the time.
All the time. And it's the best compliment in the world. Somebody's actually critiquing what I'm doing and coming away with,
Yeah.
that's not bad.
Right.
I can live with that every time.
And just all the legendary musicians that played there. I mean,
Yeah,
you'd
dude,
go in
everybody played there.
the front door, and there were symbols all over the wall that were signed by bands like Tora Tora, Roxy
Right.
Blue, and so many of the old promo shots of bands hanging there that you just recognized, and it was great.
Off mic, we were talking about Stage Stop and the memorabilia or pulling the stuff out of there.
Yeah.
I hope that's from what you're painting.
Yeah.
It was just a cool place to
It was everywhere.
Yeah,
look at. So hopefully they archive.
You
and
literally
store
could
that
walk
stuff.
around and just study the walls and learn
Yeah.
stuff about music.
Memphis music for sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened to all that stuff. I do know one of the people we've had on, I think it may have been Dave Flexer, that was telling us about. There's a Facebook page dedicated to doing some sort of a tribute to the Stage Stop or something, and I need to find out more about that. But
We do too, because I'd be down for that. in a
yeah,
heartbeat.
absolutely,
100%.
Get them on here.
Yeah,
You know,
as soon as I know, you'll know.
Because it comes up constantly.
Yeah.
All the people we interview,
Hey,
Stage Stop.
I mean, we just miss it. It was just such a great place to play, great place to hang out.
Unparalleled
We
environment.
We met the most amazing musicians who none of them had egos. I mean, I never ran into anybody in Stage Stop who acted like they were anybody.
I agree.
And some of them just got off stage,
Right.
Right,
doing
yeah.
amazing things, and then just the most casual people you'd ever want to
Yeah.
meet. We strive to be that too. There's-
Sure.
I'm trying to be a rock star on stage, and off we're not.
Yeah, you got to turn it off. It's
Yeah.
a little, it can be a turn off if
Yeah.
you don't turn it off.
Yeah.
I've worked for some singers that didn't know how to turn it off.
We
A
like to
singer.
call that lead singer's disease.
Yeah, it's
LSD, baby.
Yeah, LSD is lead singer's disease. I don't think I have it. No.
Now, do you guys have any shows planned coming up soon?
Well, the next one's the one in Texarkana. That's in May.
Okay.
And that's May 13th. That's the Knights of Thor show.
Okay.
Last year they did it here, and we played in that. There were 9 bands, and it was a bit of a cluster.
Right.
Just not totally well planned with
Typically, when
PA
you
and
get
all
9 bands together, it can be difficult.
It's a lot to manage.
And
It
so
can get
this
hectic.
time, the guy who's putting it together, he talked to me last year, and he said, "We'd really like to see you guys come play." He said, "I'd never even seen you guys before, and it's crazy. Like what you've got going on. I want to see it again." And I talked to him at our last show. He came out and watched us again, and he said, "Man, I'd like for you guys to open it up. Do you hate that?" And I'm like, "No, we like playing early. I'm old.
That's
To
right.
play early, I can actually sit down and enjoy the rest of the band."
I
So,
know that feeling.
Early in, early out.
well, I don't mind staying. I like watching bands, but like I'm personally amped up until we get on stage.
Yeah.
So if we're playing at 10 o'clock at night, from 7
Yes.
to 10, I'm wound like this,
The
waiting to
jitters.
go, waiting to do. I don't notice anybody. I don't see what anybody else is doing. I don't get to appreciate anything.
Yeah.
This way, we're first up, first done. I got a nice cold icy beer in front of me, and I can enjoy the rest
You
of the
get
night.
it out of the
Absolutely.
way.
because
Yeah.
we're not driving home that night anyway.
Yeah.
I'm gonna,
Sure.
Oh, and I think we have another one, June 3rd?
June 3rd with
Slam
Slam Hound.
Yep. Love playing with Slam
Slam
Hound.
Hound is like our
I have heard a lot about them. I have not seen them yet.
What are they called?
Slam
Slam
Hound.
Hound.
Slam Hound.
They've been the same lineup for 20 years in Memphis.
That's
They do
awesome.
some originals and some covers, but they're just loud and ballsy and southern and rancid kind of.
Right.
There are kind of guys.
Cool.
Are they still playing?
Oh, yeah. We play with
yeah.
them a lot.
Where do they play around?
Well, some of the same places we have.
Okay,
I mean, you know, they're not our exact thing because we just do originals. I mean, we really will not play a cover.
I get you. Well,
Yeah, no shame in that.
We used to play a cover. We used to play "Sweet Madam Blue" by Styx. One because I love Styx, and then Kiva rewrote the bass line to be an entire tap. The entire thing is a tapping.
Yes, a
bass
tap
line.
line. We don't play it much anymore because
Nice.
my father, in his infinite wisdom, put that back to back with depressed her. You know, it was complicated.
His fingers fell off, and we couldn't
my
play
fingers
that
fell
night.
off.
You're on fire. So you're a finger player?
That's the first time my fingers bled as a bass player. Was playing those two songs back to back.
So first, meaning there's been more.
There
times.
has been more times.
Yes.
There have been more times. Yes.
Good deal. Have you ever broken a bass string?
I tore the bridge off.
I tore the bridge off 2 days before a show once. Sent me into a full panic.
You tore one off? Like,
Yeah, he went to
I went
snap
boom,
and pop,
bang.
and the whole bridge
damn.
came off,
Yeah,
came off the bass.
the whole bridge.
That's a first.
He's hard on him, man.
Well, if you're bleeding, yeah. I remember in college, I had a bass when I was playing in my bands in college. And I had a bass that had strings super old, and I actually broke the E string on it, if you can believe it.
That's hard to do. You almost have to just dangle it and bounce it.
And I wasn't even like, I used to slap and pop more back then, but it wasn't like I was abusing the guitar. It just broke.
Yeah.
I make
was
no
like,
bones
oh.
about it. I definitely abuse my guitars.
Yeah, well, if you're pulling a bridge out of the body, I would say so.
That's when we have to give Jim Hollingsworth a shout out and tell him thank you because, like, we are in full panic mode. We don't have a bass, and he was like, "Bring it by the shop, and I will fix it." And he found another bridge that day and put it in.
Made it happen.
And made it happen. So that the next
Never
day
been
we were
so
ready to
grateful
play.
for my entire
Saved
life.
your ass.
Yeah, and for
most
chunk
definitely.
change, he knew we were broken. He just said, "Bring it down, man. I'll make it. I'll find a way." And he found a bridge that fit and put it in. It's still in it.
It's still in it.
Right. So fate didn't hate you that day.
No, not that day.
So moving forward in terms of writing and recording, any plans to get back in the studio?
Just more and more. It's always a game of how much money do we have?
Yeah.
How much time do we have? Because Kiva and I are mostly exterior painters. I mean, we do interiors too, but exteriors are our big money push.
And this time of year, you're busy.
we make more this time of year than we will the rest of the year.
Gotcha.
In summertime,
okay.
we'll make more than we will the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So, like in summertime, we just try not to. We play any show that's handed to us, but we try not to write anything new or do anything fancy or new with that, or even record. But once fall gets here, Kiva and I at that point have pretty
Have
fat
a little
bank
more-
accounts,
little more
and
time in
we're
the
pretty
schedule.
Gotcha.
willing to just say, "Band, let's do this."
Yeah. Is there a particular studio you like working at?
Yeah, right.
Uproar Recording.
Uproar
Ryan
Recording.
Olson.
Shout out Uproar Recordings.
Uproar Recording.
Ryan
Tell us a little bit about
Ryan
that place.
Olson. We just met him through a friend of a friend, and he offered us a deal. He was also trying to get his studio off the ground. You know, he's got great equipment, but didn't know a whole lot of people in Memphis.
Sure.
And so he said, "If you guys come in, I'll record you for $25 an hour." Well, if you know studios,
That's-
$25 an
that's a
hour
steal.
is
It's a hell of a
chump
deal.
change.
Yeah.
So we recorded 2 with him like that. And then eventually we looked around at his studio and he said, "I really need some rehab in here." And I said, "Well, what you really need is a painted ceiling. And for one more song, we could do that."
Smooth.
So Ryan and us, we've made several deals along the
Hey,
way.
the power of barter.
Barter
is
works
very
best.
real. I do it in my
You
business.
bet. I'll trade in a heartbeat.
Yes.
I'd rather trade you work than,
Yep.
than take a check.
For sure.
Yeah, I trade services.
You bet.
I've done it before, and we'll continue to do it.
You bet.
Yeah, because there's value in that.
Yes.
There really
there
is. You're helping each other out.
You
know.
bet. You bet. Everybody's getting what they want.
I think it's a
without
more
any real
honest-
money changing hands.
More honest and valuable interaction that way than it is with cash. With cash, it's just give me your greenbacks.
And he was
When
just,
it's-
he was just blown away.
When
I'm
it's
just gonna
something you
say,
each
'cause
value, it's
Yeah.
we know our jobs, and we plastic the whole room. He came in and went, "What are you guys doing?" And we said, "Don't worry about it. Come back in an hour." We came back in an hour. We were taking our plastic down. All the ceilings are bright white, and he was like, "It's unreal."
Then he was like, "I'll give you 2 songs."
It's well, he didn't, but it was a
boy can
big,
dream.
big room. You know what I mean? And we made it happen in short work. 4 hours flat, and we were in and out of there.
Nice. Well, what do you say, Jeff? Is there anything else that you wanted to
I'm just thinking about the band name Makes Chicks Boogie.
Makes chicks boogie.
Makes chicks.
Chicks boogie.
I got to give credit where credit due. That's my friend
Ellis.
Scott Ellis,
Okay.
who plays in a band called Firepower in Nashville. He lives in Indiana though,
Right.
and that he always says that he's a ridiculous good bass player. He always says, "You don't have to hear what I do. It makes chicks boogie."
I'm at Memphis.
That's what I'm talking about.
Awesome
Bassist
titty
catchphrase.
makes chicks boogie. I don't know which one I'm going to do.
Both on the same stage.
Yeah.
That'd
be awesome.
One could open for the other.
That's right. So before we go, I just realized something I want to go back to,
Sure.
and then we'll get out of here. We got to talk about you delivering your son
Sure.
in a school bus.
Sure.
We don't want to, we don't have to go into details if you
Right.
don't want, like,
No, it's fine.
grotesque, but like,
I bought 26 acres in the middle of nowhere. I decided I wanted to secede from society. I moved my family out there. We put a school bus on the property. I built a 12 by 18 foot room off the back of it with an upstairs in it so that there was enough space for everybody.
Right.
And then lo and behold, my wife was pregnant, which had only happened 3 times before. So I don't know why I was so shocked. And I said, I want this one to be out of the system. I want this one to not be beholden. And she said, well, if you think you can do it. So I studied quite a bit, and we did have a midwife on call, although we didn't have to use her. And I delivered him and cut the umbilical cord and weighed him, and
Lo and behold, here I am.
that is so cool.
That
I
is
mean,
cool.
that is cool. I can joke about how crazy that shit is, but
is.
also that's really cool.
In modern society, it just doesn't happen anymore. We just everything is done a certain way, and we just said we want to do it a different way, and we did.
I wonder if that's why you guys have this relationship.
Strongest bond of any of his kids.
I have 9 kids with varying levels of love and hate and complete disregard for one another.
Right.
But Kiva's really my best friend. I mean, he's going to take over my business when I quit. He's going to take over my band when I quit. He's going to take over everything I've got.
There's got to be something to say for the fact that you delivered them. There has to be some kind of connection there.
I believe it plays a big part in the bond we got.
I held him long before a nurse did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after birth, do you? Is it inevitable that eventually you have to go to a hospital or?
Sure. I actually, I had him circumcised by a friend who was a doctor, which it was outside the system. So, but he didn't see a doctor until he was 5, 6 years old.
Wow.
I mean, he's the healthiest kid I know.
Wow, that's amazing. What'd you do for like electricity and all, when you're off the grid?
We had a generator to run the well, so we could turn power on. But it was costly and expensive, and we didn't very often.
Right.
When she was pregnant with him, we had it on a lot because we had an air conditioner in the bus window.
Yeah.
Try and drop the temperature because pregnant women do not do well with 90s in the woods. But the rest of it, we lived out there for almost 3 years, and I mean, other than her being pregnant, we honestly didn't use any power.
That's wild, man. That's awesome, though. That's really cool.
I killed meat, and
Thanks for shattering my, I've always thought I'm off the grid out of my farm. No, I'm not off the grid. They were off the grid.
Like I hate having to like try to learn something from Google or YouTube. And it's just like, all right. But man, I mean, that's the power of the internet now. I'll learn how to deliver a baby.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. I got a stack of books.
Unreal.
I read.
Oh, so books. Okay. Yeah. You went like.
I read. Again, with my parents in the education, I was taught to speed read when I was like 7th grade. So I read 1,100 words a minute, about 90% comprehension. So I can blaze through a 300-page book in a couple hours. And
we differ in dealing with heights and reading, sir.
Yes, we do.
It's just something. I mean, they did it for me. I'm giving them full credit.
But can you speed read on an 8-foot unicycle?
I cannot, but I might be able to do it while playing guitar.
Insane. Well,
you guys are fascinating.
Look, we love everybody we've interviewed, but we have reached the pinnacle. This interview has been off the charts. I love it.
We're different cats, man.
So where can they find you on Facebook?
Facebook for sure.
Facebook, YouTube,
Spotify, DistroKid.
I think there's a Drupal account too.
Drupal doesn't count.
So your pages are Stephen McKee. PH.
Stephen
and
McKee.
Kiva McKee.
KIVAH.
Yeah, and then I've been on your page. I know there's the link to your I think
Business.
it's
McKee Custom Paint.
business. Yeah, hey, if you need some painting,
Yeah.
we got this team here too. But also on your page, you can get the link, I believe, to your YouTube channel and start digging in more.
Yes. Yeah. It's all up on the Fate Hates Me page. You can link to just about everything.
And all these links will be in the description.
Thank you.
As
Thank you. We
always.
appreciate
And,
that.
So yeah, let's before we say goodbye officially, Jeff, let's talk to the audience again, right? So we got a Facebook page, right?
We do. Oh, you want me to elaborate? I got you.
We're having trouble today.
No, we're not. Well, no, I was kidding. No, we're on Facebook, the Rhythm Section Pod. YouTube is our preferred method of watching the video of this. It comes out every Monday at 6 p.m. Central.
Yes.
And you can check us out at Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, and Pandora.
Help the cause. Go to Patreon. $1 a month for the tip jar. Also, check out our merch.
Yep.
We have a retail location in Hernando. It's at Boba Cream, 131 West Commerce Street. Go to msbobacream.com to learn more about them. But as you walk in to the left, you'll see our little area right there. We
You
got
got
shirts.
your own little store going on.
Huh?
You got your own store going on
Yeah,
inside.
we got a little retail
Right on.
space, man.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Well, look at you guys moving up.
Speaking of barter, yes, that's we're two small businesses are working together. I'm now friends with the owner, so they give us the space and they get a commercial in return.
Right on. Beautiful.
Love it.
That's excellent.
That's
Excellent.
right. So Boba Cream, 131 West Commerce Street. Check it out. Shirts, hats, coffee mugs, and tumblers.
Yeah.
And we would love it if you also bought a drink and patronized their small business. It's
Absolutely.
an awesome product, and they're great people.
Yes.
All right, Stephen McKee, Kiva McKee.
Get out and see
Yes.
a Fate Hates Me show.
Yes,
Thank you so
and
much.
go
Thank you,
search them
Derrick.
out on
Thank you, Jeff.
Spotify and hit those songs.
Yeah.
And we'll see if we can have you guys on here again someday.
Appreciate it.
I'm sure you guys
We'd love
have
to.
plenty more stories we haven't
They're
tapped into.
coming back for sure.
Thanks, y'all.